जय श्री राधे। श्री वल्लभाधीश की जय हो, श्री गोवर्धन की जय हो। सभी वैष्णवों को जय श्री कृष्ण, राधे राधे. Today is the 29th day of the reading of the Shri Chaurasi Vaishnavon ki Varta, beginning with Varta 17, the story of Devakpur Kshatriya from Kara. Bhav Prakash. Devakpur and his wife were both Sakhis of Sri Yashodaji. In the Leela, Devakpuriji's name is Pravina and his wife is Rasalina. Part 1. Sri Acharyaji had granted Devakpur the seva of Sri Lalita Tribhangi. He and his wife both served him for quite a long time. Devakpur then left his body and his wife carried on the service for a time afterwards. She also left her body after a while. Their relatives performed their last rites. When they came home, their sons opened the doors of the temple and saw that the preparations that had been offered to the Lord were still there, but that Sri Thakurji was nowhere to be seen. His bed was empty too. No one could find him, however much they searched. The 4 sons were not qualified, and so Sri Thakurji did not want to be served by them. Bhav Prakash. Although they had been initiated by Sri Gosaiji's elder brother Sri Gopinathji, they were still attached to worldly and scriptural ways. Therefore, Sri Thakurji did not accept their service. Because Sri Gopinathji was a manifestation of Sri Krishna's elder brother Balaram and was therefore attached to spiritual law, everyone whom he had initiated had an inclination to follow scriptural law. Sri Lalita Tribhangi was served by Sri Acharyaji, who was a full manifestation of the Supreme Lord, and so there was no connection between the sons and the Sri Thakurji, and they had no right to his seva. That is why he disappeared. Some time later he came to light in the home of a Brahman lady disciple of Sri Gosaiji in Simhanand, to whom he told the whole story. He stayed secretly in her home for a long time and was served by her. All of this is told in Sri Gosaiji's Varta. The Sri Thakurji reappeared in Sri Gosaiji's family. Devakpur and his wife were indeed accomplished devotees. Thus concludes Varta 17, the story of Devakpur and his wife, although there is really no end to their story. Bhav Prakash. The moral of this story is that only divine souls can develop the kind of love that will make Sri Thakurji want to accept their seva. Varta number 18, the story of Dinkar Seth Kshatri from Prayag. Bhav Prakash. In the eternal Leela, Dinkar Seth is a close Sakhi of Sri Thakurji and has deep love for Sri Swaminiji. Sri Swaminiji would always ask her about Sri Thakurji and told her all about her love for him. This Sakhi's name is Mana Aturi. She would relay Sri Swaminiji's words to Sri Thakurji. She herself was completely attached to hearing their tales and could not live without hearing them, so addicted was she to them. She was very much loved by both. Dinkar Seth was born to a very rich Kshatriya businessman who lived in Prayag. He became attached to listening to the stories of the Lord from the tender age of 5. When he reached the age of 10 or 12, he used to give away his and the household's clothes and jewellery to those who came to give holy discourses. Because of this, his parents and 3 brothers all called him a thief and did not trust him. Once, on the occasion of Dinkar Seth's elder brother's wedding, they dressed Dinkar in gold-threaded cloth and lots of jewellery and sat him on a horse. He thought to himself, "What a lot of ostentatious goods to share out. Let me give them all to the speakers." When the wedding procession had reached the girl's house and everyone was busy, Dinkar took all the clothes and jewellery and gave them away to a group of speakers. He told them never to tell his father, relatives or anyone else. Dinkarji himself put on a dhoti, a simple cloth tied at the waist, and went and sat at home. His mother asked him where all the clothes and jewellery had gone. After looking everywhere and not finding them, Dinkar's father beat him and locked him in a room for 3 days. Still, Dinkar did not tell him where the things were. The father and 3 brothers were at a loss to know what to do. Dinkar spent his whole time listening to the religious discourses. Wherever he went, they all praised his generosity, but in his family everyone would call him a thief. He would come home in the evenings and eat whatever he was given and wear whatever they gave him. After his evening meal, Dinkar Das went out to attend an all-night discourse at the speaker's home, and he stayed there because his family all thought he would abscond with anything that caught his eye and thus did not like him sleeping at home. With all of this, he never got married. He survived like this for a long time until his parents died. He could not get on with his brothers, so he decided to leave the village. The next morning he went to the Triveni Sangam and bathed in the holy waters, after which he sat down on the riverbank. Sri Acharyaji, who was in Adel, had asked Krishnadas Megham to take a few rupees with him to the town and buy some sugar. On his way, Krishnadas came to the Triveni. They were both standing at the same time, and Dinkar Das asked Krishnadas, "Who are you?" Krishnadas asked Dinkar who he was and why he was asking. Dinkar replied, "I am thinking of leaving this place, and you seem to me to be a traveller here. I would like to meet people who like to listen to the stories of the pastimes of the Lord, and then I will travel with them. I have a lot of wealth at home, and I lived there until my parents were alive. Now my 3 brothers abuse me regularly and call me a thief, so I'm not married, but this is all okay because it is the Lord's wish." Krishnadas recognized him to be a divine soul and told him that if he was attached to hearing discussions about the Lord's pastimes, then he should most definitely come to Adel and hear Sri Acharyaji speak. After that, he could go wherever his heart told him. Hearing this, Dinkar immediately hired a boat to take him to Adel. When he arrived, Sri Acharyaji was just getting up from his afternoon rest. It was early evening, about 4 p.m. Dinkar bowed low to him, and Sri Acharyaji called him by name and invited him to come and listen to his discourse on the Brahmagita from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Hearing it, Dinkar began to weep, saying, "How many days of my life have I wasted up to now? I will take shelter of Sri Acharyaji and spend my whole life close to him, whilst tasting the nectar of his words." The discourse ended, and Dinkarji requested Sri Acharyaji to accept him as his disciple. Sri Acharyaji remarked, "You have listened to so many discourses. How come you have not yet taken a guru? You must have met some great men of knowledge, so why have you not entered their service?" Dinkar replied that so far all the pundits he had met had all been interested in money, and they were willing to give their attention and affection for as long as one was ready to pay for it. As I am now, no one wants to talk to me. However, by the grace of the Lord, I have now managed to have your sight. You are the Lord himself. If I go anywhere else, I will just be wasting my life," he said. "Please uplift me. I have no worldly obstacles." Sri Acharyaji instructed him to go and bathe fully clothed in the Sri Yamunaji river. He did just that, and then Sri Acharyaji initiated him with the Lord's name and Brahma Sambandh and told him to serve the Lord. Dinkar Seth then submitted, "You know my heart. Please may I listen to your discourses and make that my seva?" Sri Acharyaji replied, "So be it. You will live with me." Dinkar had 100 rupees with him. He gave half of it to Sri Acharyaji, and with the other half of it, he regularly made offerings of bread and lentil soup. So we conclude today's reading here, day 29, and we'll again commence tomorrow with part 1 of Dinkarji's Varta. Shri Acharya Ji Mahaprabhu Ji ki jai ho, Shri Gosai Ji ki jai, Shri Govardhan Dara ki jai ho, Shri Giriraj Maharaj ki jai ho, Shri Vraja Dham ki jai ho. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. सबको जय श्री कृष्ण।